What up, y'all? It's Timmy, and today we're going to take off the truck house and put some captain's varnish on it and get it re-waterproof. So it's kind of sketchy, but let's do it. Welcome to Truck House Lab, baby. So today it's time to start getting ready for the big road trip. So I've got to remove the truck house, truck camper cabin, whatever, and I need to re-varnish it / re-waterproof it. So yeah, I'm about to do a 13,000 mile road trip, so I want to make sure the camper is good to go, nice and waterproof. So let's get to it. First thing we're going to do is take the camper off the truck, which is the worst part. So right now it's a little bit shady, but you can tell I've got my jacks in place, locked in. And I've got these little custom guys I welded up down here, custom feet, because the tri-legs kept breaking. So it's looking a little bit shady, but as you can tell, I just finished jacking the camper up, so it is officially off the ground. But we're gonna trust it, drive out from under it, and kind of bring it down on some sawhorses to stabilize it. And then I'm going to apply some captain's varnish to this whole thing. So time to drive out from under it. Here we go. All right, we just did it. That's terrifying. I think she's good. There we go. Done. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is wash off the camper, get it nice and clean, and then I'm gonna take this here fancy paintbrush, and this stuff is incredible / awesome. Captain's Varnish. It is essentially a waterproof gel coat, amber colored coating that you put on the wood, and I'll do a couple coats pretty much once every 2 years, but I'm gonna do it every year just to be safe. And it waterproofs the wood. It's the same stuff they use in sailboats and stuff like that. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're gonna do is varnish this area, because whenever you drive along, it sucks all the moisture in from the road and kind of just backwashes the entire back of the camper. So it gets dirtier and just probably more saturated than any other part of the camper, and it's shaded so it doesn't get as much sun. So I want to make sure it's super waterproof back here. So let's do that first. Like I was saying before, you really want to do this at least once every 2 years if you have a boat, if you really want to take care of it. But I'm going to do it every year with this camper. The Captain's Varnish is pretty expensive. It's about 120 bucks a can, so it's not cheap for a gallon, but it works great. I'm not going to get really crazy into this like a lot of sailboat folks do and do all the sanding and all that. It's already rough sawn plywood, so I'm not worried about sanding off old layers and starting fresh. I'm just trying to coat it with every waterproof bit of gel I can. Cheers, everybody. So in the past, I've already put 4 coats of Captain's Varnish on this, so it's already kind of gel coated and filled in. All the pores of the wood are pretty much full of the varnish, especially since it was just a 1.5 years ago when I varnished it. One thing you want to do after you've brushed the varnish on is do one last pull just to smooth everything out at the end. You don't want to kind of just go like that all the way around. You try to apply it smooth as you can and then do one last pull all the way down, and that just gives it a nice smooth finish. See, I'm kind of applying it, going across like so, and then after I've applied it to the piece of wood, I'm going to do one long pull back the other way just to smooth it up. And it is really sticky, really messy stuff, so just try to clean it up immediately if it gets on something. The best you can. You're gonna make a mess though, no matter how careful you try to be, so just keep that in mind. And also, when you buy a brush, make sure to get like you don't have to spend a bunch of money on a brush, but get a decent brush. A lot of these brushes are like $5. Like, you know, get yourself a $10, $15 bristle that is really thick and fairly decent quality. Remember when I first started this camper project, one of the first things I realized is there's no way I was gonna find an 18-inch door anywhere. So I just knew I was gonna have to build my own door for this camper. And I feel like it turned out pretty well for what it is, you know. For being my very first door that I built from scratch, I feel like this door turned out pretty decent, you know. I really do. So I'm pretty stoked on it. Would I change anything about this camper? I honestly don't think I would. I originally designed it to fit my truck bed, and then I put this flatbed on. So maybe if I built another camper, I'd make it just a flatbed camper in a box shape instead of wings like this thing has, but I don't know. I'm pretty satisfied with it. Pretty good to me. So realistically, it's probably going to take me around, I'd say 3 hours to do this whole camper if I really take my time and do it right, so, which I'm trying to do. Like I was saying, this can of Captain's Varnish is 120 bucks for a little gallon of it, so I really try to make it count. I'm glad I don't have a larger camper, even more expensive. It's good looking stuff, so you can see the sheen it's going to put on everything. It really brings out all the grains in the wood. Actually, some of this you can tell it's just like really stained wood, really gray. And I tried to clean it off, but I'm not going to get too crazy on it. All right, coming along pretty nicely. It's gonna probably take like, I don't know, I'll let it dry overnight, not move anything, but it's gonna leave this nice glossy coating and everything. So the back is just about done. This part's easier because there's less going on, so it should go probably about the same amount of time as it took to do the back. I can do the entire camper, I think. I'm gonna finish varnishing these rails here, the outside of them, and then we're gonna move on to the rest of the camper here. All right, back of the truck camper's finished. Now it's time to get the front. This front edge of the camper right here is sticking out just slightly past the truck, so this really takes a lot of rain and wind. So I'm just putting a little bit thicker of a coat on this outer edge over here. What's scary is balancing a 1 gallon, $120 thing of varnish on the ladder. It's kind of sketchy. She's done. It took about 2.5, no, I'm gonna say 3 hours to completely varnish the entire camper, and she should be good to go. She's got a good waterproof gel coating on there, and I think that'll keep you good for another year. So there you go. Let's do a quick walk around and check it out. I don't know if I'm more scared loading the camper or unloading, but let's load it. up right on the mat where it needs to be. It's pretty lined up in the mat on this side. Then up in here, I just chalk it off so the camper doesn't slide all the way against the guard here. Got that little 4x4 right down there. So, we start lowering it down. And like I was telling you guys a week ago, I'm getting new springs for the rear of the truck, so it's gonna sit it up where it's supposed to be. So it's sagging really bad right now. Airbags are blowing out. We did it. Camper's on. Yes, sir. This little rubberized mat, it's a 1/4 inch thick mat. I got from, it's like a horse mat for horses. Works awesome. The biggest advantage of the 1/4 inch rubber mat is it keeps the camper from sliding, obviously, but it's exactly as wide as the bottom, so it really helps me line it up. So as I'm driving backwards, I just look out my rear window there and just kind of line up the camper, the side of the camper with this rubber mat. And yeah, it helps me out a lot. Anyhow, let's tie it down and hit the road. And to detach it, it's not too crazy. Got a couple of nuts and bolts I gotta loosen up. Right, and she's off. And all it is, so these bolts right here just go through this bracket right here, and then you just screw them in the backside. And it secures it pretty well, pretty trustworthy. And then the base is essentially just this little bottom plate I welded up just to stand instead of the tripod legs, because the tripod legs break too easy, so pretty simple. Works great. Alright, that's a wrap, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button down there and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of my content. And I'll see you next time. Peace, y'all.